In this section, we will cover formulas and literal equations. We aren't trying to solve an equation this time. We're taking a formula, which is an equation, and we're going to rewrite it in a different way. For example, in physics, we have a formula that's F is equal to ma. This tells us that the force F is equal to the mass m times the acceleration a. Let's solve this formula for m. So we start with F is equal to ma, and if we want to get m by itself, we need to move the a. So as we're moving, we're always doing the opposite. So m and a are being multiplied, so the opposite would be divide. Now I've moved a over to the left, and I have m isolated. It's all by itself. This is our answer. It may take you a while to catch on to the fact that the answers aren't numbers. That's okay. All you have to do is solve for the particular variable that you're given. So let's try it again. This formula says that the degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 9 over 5 times the degrees Celsius plus 32. So this gives us a way to take a Celsius temperature, put it into a formula, and get out what the Fahrenheit would be. Well, let's say we want to go the opposite way. Let's say I have a Fahrenheit and I want to know the Celsius. So what am I doing here? I'm solving for C. So let's take our formula, and I'm going to drop the degrees now just to make it easier to write. And I think I need to solve for C. So I need to start pulling things away. The first thing I want to move is that 32. So let's subtract that from both sides. Now I have F minus 32 is equal to 9 over 5 times C. I want to get rid of the 9 over 5, which says let's multiply by the opposite. So it's the opposite, it's the reciprocal. So we're just going to flip that number over. We're going to make it 5 over 9. That way the 5's cancel, the 9's cancels, but don't forget, we want to do that to both sides. When you bring the 5 over 9 to the left, put parentheses around the F minus 32. That way we see that 5 over 9 belongs to both of those things, both the F and the 32. What do I have now? I have 5 over 9 times F minus 32 is equal to C. This is my answer. This is the formula for density. This kind of looks like a P, it's really called a rho, is equal to M over V. What do I want to solve for? I want to solve for V. So let's look how we write it down. Okay. This one's a little different because the V that I want to get by itself is currently in the denominator. So the first thing I'm going to do is get that V out of the denominator by multiplying both sides. V is out of the denominator on the left. So on the right, I have V times rho is M. To get the V by itself, I just do a simple division. So now I have V is M over rho, or if you want to say P, that's fine with me. This one comes from medicine. I have D over H times V is equal to A. It really doesn't matter if we know what the letters are or not. It doesn't really add any value, really. It may make you feel good about it, but I don't want you to think you have to learn what all the letters stand for. But I do need to be able to do manipulation. So I take the D over H times V equal to A, and I think I need to get to the D. Let's get rid of the H first. Multiply both sides by H. Now the left side says dV is AH. I need to move the V. To move the V, I need to divide because that would be the opposite of multiplication. And I have D is equal to AH over V. All right, this one, it says RT is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. The T kind of stands for total here, so it says I have multiple things going on. I have 1, 2, 3, these are all R's, but it's kind of putting it together. Again, doesn't really matter what it stands for, we just want to solve for what's indicated, which is R1. So R1 says I have RT is R1 plus R2 plus R3. I want to move the R2 and the R3 over to the left. Right now they're being added, So the opposite will be subtract. So let's go ahead and subtract both R2 and R3 from both sides. So on the left side now, I have RT minus R2 minus R3. On the right side, now that the R2 and R3 have canceled, I have R1. Here's something from geometry that we will talk about in later sections. This is how to find the area of a trapezoid. So it says the area is equal to 1/2. I have a little b and I have a big B, then I have times h. And I would like to solve for the big B. All right, lots going on in this one. So what I notice first is I have the 1/2 and I really don't want to keep the 1/2 because I need to get to that b. So I'm going to start by multiplying both sides by 2. I have 2a on the left, the 1/2 cancels the 2 on the right, and now I have the little b plus the big B times the h. Now you're going to have choices in what to do. You can distribute the h, or you can just divide by h. I kind of think it's better to go ahead and distribute, so let's try it that way. I have b times h, so I have little b h, and I have big B h. Again, I'm trying to get b by itself, so let's move this bh, the little bh, to the left, and we do that by subtraction. I have 2a minus the lowercase bh on the left, capital BH on the right. Now I just need to move that h, and then I have my answer. Careful that when you divide by h, think about dividing sides. So the whole left side divides by h, the whole right side divides by h. On the left side now, I have 2a minus little bh over h is equal to b. No canceling happens here. Even though I have an h in the numerator and an h in the denominator, I can't cancel these two h's out. I have to leave it alone because the 2a is also dividing by h and I can't cancel there. So just leave it alone and say good job and move on to the next one. Now here's another one from geometry. This would give us the perimeter of a rectangle. It's p is equal to 2l plus 2w, so it's twice the length and twice the width, and I want to solve for l. And we're going to continue to think. Let's just do the opposite. Let's move things away so that I can solve for the variable I want. So since I want to solve for L, I know I need to move the 2w to the left, which means I'm going to subtract it because right now it's being added. I have p minus 2w is 2l. And this reminds me of the last one where I need to divide to get the variable by itself. I'm going to divide by 2. Make sure I divide the whole left side by 2, where I have p minus 2w over 2 is L. And I remember, I can't simplify that. I have to leave that just like it is. So no canceling out of the 2's, just leave them and go to the next one. Here I have w is 1/2 cv squared, and I'm asked to solve for c. Once again, I have a fraction. I have 1/2 cv squared, and by now you're starting to see that anytime I have a fraction, I try to get rid of it kind of by flipping it over. So multiply both sides by 2 to clear the 1/2. Now I have 2w is equal to cv squared. I'm trying to get the c by itself. I need to divide by v squared. Now 2w over v squared is equal to c.